morning, though there is a strange energy in the air. You aren't sure what it is, but something feels off. Maybe it is a new admirer of yours. But even then, the idea of someone sneaking into your home, even if it is to ply you with an ungodly amount of sugar, doesn't sit well with you. You close the fridge, not wanting to risk eating any of this unknown food, in fear of what could be hidden inside. And instead go to pour yourself a glass of water. You turn the cold water nozzle and your sink begins to rattle. A guttural sound echoes as the piping of your home makes unfamiliar noises. Air hisses through the faucet, and it begins to sputter, letting out small sprays of brown liquid that speckles the sides of the sink before a viscous liquid begins to pour in heavy glugs, slowly filling the sink.
What the hell?
You say, jumping back, worried that your pipes had backed up and were now spewing sewage. But you quickly rule that out as a sweet smell begins to fill your nostrils.
No way.
You say, sticking out a finger and letting the brown liquid flow onto it. It is slightly warm to the touch. You bring your finger to your mouth and lick the sticky warmth from it.
Chocolate.
Incredibly, your faucet is now pouring out rich, delicious chocolate syrup. You have no idea how this could have happened. Maybe there is something going on with the city water supply. You pull out your smartphone and are about to check the local news, only to see that social media is going wild right now. A torrent of people, all as confused as you are, talking about how all of their food has gone missing, only to be changed out for sweeter alternatives. Claims of seaside residents waking up to an ocean made of chocolate. Your heart begins to beat faster as the reality of the situation makes itself clear. Everything has become dessert. In a moment of pure gluttony, you grab a coffee mug and dip it into the sink, filling it with chocolate syrup, which you then bring to your lips and drink. Feeling the rush of sugar course through your body.
I think I could get used to this.
Head out.
PH.
You take a huge bite out of the chocolate bar and crunch on the almonds that are hiding just below the surface. You're thankful for the slight change in flavor profile after drinking several mugs worth of chocolate syrup. This is your fourth chocolate bar of the train ride. You found that your pantries had been equally as stocked as your fridge had been. You didn't even know that chocolate came in so many flavors, but you intended to become familiar with them all. Looking around the train car, you see that you aren't the only person enjoying all of the sweets. Some people crunch on hard candies and chew on breakfast pastries, like muffins and donuts, while other people look less than thrilled, rubbing empty bellies on their morning commute.
I see you're also making the most of the good situation.
A familiar voice says to you, as you see Jade walking over to your seat. Jade is chewing on some chocolate-coated wafer sticks that you've seen in the Asian section of the supermarket. She gives you a knowing look as she takes a bite.
Looks like you've got a bit of a stain on your shirt. Been going hard on the free sweets?
She asks with a grin.
Why wouldn't I?
You push the rest of the chocolate bar into your mouth and chew, your mouth crammed full of the decadent goodness, as you reach into your bag to grab another bar.
Damn girl, you keep that up, and you're gonna end up huge.
You grin with puffed cheeks.
That's the idea.
You say with a full mouth, if you weren't already in the know about the desserts, you wouldn't think anything was out of the ordinary at work. Since the sight of Stephanie happily working her way through a box of donuts is one that you've come to expect.
Aubrey, karma seems to be in my favor today. Someone must have been thinking about me this morning because they left me a treat. It's nice to get treated every once in a while, you know.
She looks so happy right now that you decide that you won't burst her bubble. She'll figure out exactly what is going on eventually on her own. No need to be the one to break the news to her. He offers you a donut, and even though you have spent the better part of the morning gorging yourself on chocolate and sugar, you find yourself ready to keep going. Something about whatever is going on with this food comes with the perk of making it easy to keep indulging, which you have no problem with doing. You grab a cruller and devour it in a handful of bites as you make your way to your cubicle. On making your way to your cubicle, you encounter an upset-looking collie, as she is walking to wherever it is that she is needed. She does not appear to have time to talk, but she seems to not be in the best of moods. You can probably imagine why. She has been making good strides on her diet, so to wake up to a world filled with food that is actively working against it, no doubt she isn't thrilled.
Well, if she doesn't want her food, I'll take it.
That thought in your mind, you reach your workstation and take a seat at your computer desk, and along with that, you feel something that you aren't used to. The feeling of your bloated belly pressing against your thighs. You aren't able to see it past your large chest, but the sensation is definitely there, and you have to remind yourself that you are at work and need to contain your growing. Pull yourself up to your computer, with the intent to get started on your casework for the day. You open your desk drawer to grab a folder, only to find that the contents are now accompanied by a dozen cans of soda. The implication hits you and you begin digging through the other drawers. One is filled with hard candies, another holds cans of whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and other toppings for impromptu ice cream sundaes. And most impressively, you find a large, fully baked apple pie that smells of cinnamon and bourbon. You gingerly reach into the drawer and grab the sides of the pie. It is still warm to the touch and the crust flakes slightly under your fingers. You place the pie onto your desktop, grab the caramel drizzle that you had found and cover the surface in a thick layer of sticky sauce. You lick your lips at the idea of making the already decadent foods even more calorie-dense. You crack a lemon-lime soda and begin your much-deserved snack break.
I was beginning to crash a little. The sugar should help me stay focused on my tasks.
You, in fact, do not get much work done as you are more focused on clearing out the contents of your desk. Time flies by as you get lost in your indulgence, only to be snapped out of it by an email from Jamie. You are surprised to see that you missed your lunch break.
I'll have to make up for that later.
The tone of the email makes you think that Jamie has been having a pretty bad day.
Aubrey, I would like you to come to my office when you have the opportunity to do so. We need to discuss your case files now that all of our currently outstanding deals have been ruined, Jamie.
You kind of wish you had done more work now.
And these stupid fucking muffins just keep popping up everywhere.
Jamie says, crushing a muffin against her desk in a moment of frustration. Amy has been venting to you since you sat in her office. She started off trying to maintain professional appearances, but this quickly began to spiral as she opened a desk drawer to find a chocolate chip muffin waiting for her. She has been receiving emails all day from unhappy business clientele that found the stock of SBC product they had ordered had all been replaced like everything else, including many of the people that you are responsible for handling the accounts of.
I have been dealing with disgruntled customers all day long, and I do not have any of the answers they need. All I can do is reassure them that we are working on it, and will get them an answer when we know more. But nobody actually knows what is happening, so I am just talking out of my ass.
You try to quietly crack a soda that you brought with you, but the sound seems to just trigger Jamie further.
And I can't seem to get anyone to take things seriously. Everyone is too focused on either stuffing their fat faces, or they are too distracted to actually do the work that I need them to do. That is why you are here. I have been calling in everyone to make sure that they are properly addressing complaints and filling out the influx of new orders that we are going to be inevitably needing to fill as clients adjust to whatever is going on. So please, make my life a little easier and actually do your job.
Will do. Is that all you needed to talk about?
You ask, taking a sip of the root beer that you opened.
Sigh yes, and please take that with you as you go and send in the next person.
She says, pointing a finger at another muffin that is sitting on top of a file cabinet near the door. You give a quick nod and stand up to leave, making sure to take the muffin with you as you exit Jamie's office. Blossom is sitting outside of the office, presumably to meet with Jamie, and she hums to herself softly as she chews on a chocolate cupcake. She looks up at you with a friendly smile through sealed lips.
You should probably finish that before going in, if you don't want to get an earful.
You say to her before heading back to work to finish off your day. After helping yourself to another glass of chocolate syrup, you decide what else you want to do with your evening. Check in on Sisai. Walking the streets of the city, you see people all adapting to the circumstances that they find themselves in. You see many restaurants have their open signs off or turned to closed as they have to figure out how to rework their menus. You see children running around excitedly as they work off the sugar rushes that they are experiencing. And you notice a larger number of people than normal going for a run, probably in an attempt to burn off the extra calories that they have put on during the day. You come to Sisai's alleyway and can hear the sound of plastic crinkling and parchment paper crumpling. And you can tell that the noise is coming from her secluded part of the alleyway.
Red girl, Sisai don't know what's going on.
Sisai is surrounded by cardboard boxes that she has clawed her way into, empty snack packages, and countless hard candies wrapped in cellophane. You stare at her massively distended belly to figure out just what Sisai has been doing back here, though she doesn't seem to be all that happy about it.
Are you talking about candy, the ones that you've been eating?
You ask, trying to understand the issue.
No meat.
She says with pure disdain in her voice.
Humans throw out all the colors but no meat. Even Sisai stash all colors now.
It does seem that there are no exceptions to the rules when it comes to dessert. Whatever Sisai considered to be food was transformed into candy, and based on the packaging of the boxes littering the alleyway, so did anything that was being held in storage at restaurants.
I don't know how it happened, but there isn't anything but the colors left, so I think you'll just have to deal with Sisai, though you already look like you've been eating your fair share.
You remark, kneeling and poking her distended belly. It is very firm to the touch and is radiating heat as it works to digest all she ate.
Sisai hungry, needed to eat. Colors not filling but lots of it. Sisai still hungry.
She says, annoyed, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. You had already noticed that it was easy to keep eating these new treats, but to this extent? Or does it have something to do with Sisai's just generally weird physiology? You have been eating basically the whole day and still could go for more.
Maybe I will have to test that out later. Well, I'll keep an eye out for you, but as far as things go, you'll have to just live with it for the time being. Everyone is dealing with the same thing as you right now.
Sisai crosses her arms and pouts, trapped in place by her swollen belly as she angrily shoves a handful of candies into her mouth. Still fully wrapped.
Here, let me help you. You shouldn't really eat the plastic.
Maybe it is time to get some dinner. You are curious to see how some of your usual joints are handling the change. Some places are likely to have an easier time than others. Today you figure you would go to your favorite diner, and while they were out of your regular order of a burger and fries, they are able to entice you with something that might be even better. Had always been meaning to try the milkshakes that they had on their menu, but normally you are dissuaded by the price. You couldn't reasonably justify spending that much money on a snack when you could get like 4 times as much food elsewhere. However, with the sudden and dramatic increase in supply, not only are they practically giving the frozen treats away, they have also more than doubled the serving size. Feel like you are in heaven after your first sip. The creamy, cool texture tickles your taste buds and is a nice change from the other sweets you had today. A strong taste of mint mixed with microbites of dark chocolate make each sip feel unique and find yourself not wanting to stop. You take long drags from the straw, needy for more of the delicious treat. Your stomach gurgles as it stretches over your waistband, bloating and filling to accommodate your binge. Twirl your straw along the bottom of the glass as you reach the last few drops of your first shake, desperate not to leave a single smackerel behind. As you gulp, you take a second to lean back in your chair and caress your now noticeable pot belly. In just a single day you have managed to do so much damage to your waistline thanks to this unforeseen miracle. You stare greedily at the pale flesh. You know that most of this size will go down after digestion. You also know that the day is far from over. That thought alone gets you excited enough to consider doing something indecent in public. But at the same time, you still have a whole other shake that is waiting for you, and it would be a shame if you got kicked out before you could ravage it.
Just one more then I'll be good.
A hushed voice rings in your ears from a booth to your right. Running a tongue along a very large French vanilla ice cream cone, Beth seems to be really enjoying her treat with how hard she is blushing. Though she clearly seems conflicted about indulging with the way she is muttering to herself. She can say whatever she wants, but you can tell that with the way she is clutching that ice cream cone, and the look in her eyes that this is more than just a moment of weakness. This girl wants this bad. You bet that when next you see her, that tight little tummy of hers will be a distant memory. Rather than continuing to watch her eat, you decide that you are much more interested in that second milkshake staring you down from across the table. You wiggle your toes in excitement as you wrap your hands around the glass, the condensation on the outside slick to the touch, and pull it to yourself, eager for more. Finish up and go home. Other people seem to have come to the same conclusion as you did this morning. On your walk to the train station, there were signs advertising extreme discounts on food, where people are attempting to give customers a reason to choose their stores when access to food is no longer an issue. You also see a similar number of restaurants haven't opened at all. Past people on patios enjoying a morning coffee and breakfast. Though coffee is probably generous to say when looking at the mugs filled with cream, sugar, caramel drizzle, foam topping, and cinnamon dust, with cinnamon buns the size of a football to accompany them. You are excited to see that portion sizes are attempting to keep up with the new abundance of foods that should make it even easier for you to gain. Waiting for the train, you found an older woman running a churro cart who chose the waiting platform to be her venue of service this morning. You took it as a sign that you could use a post-breakfast snack. You helped yourself to a pair of churros as long as your arm, that are coated in cinnamon sugar and served with chocolate hazelnut drizzle. The first of which you polished off before your train even arrived. You happily chew away on your second churro, taking pride in how ill-fitting your work outfit is, with your belly and breasts pulling the buttons apart. You lean back into your seat and feel the fabric of your top threaten to burst as it stretches over your expanded frame.
Whoa, careful Aubrey, you're one sudden move from a wardrobe malfunction. Trust me, I've been there.
A familiar soft voice speaks up from down the car. Gemini gives you a soft smile as she also takes a bite into a churro. The layer of cinnamon sugar falls like snow and dusts her cleavage, where the morning sun shimmers off of it like makeshift glitter. It looks as if she has also been enjoying the abundance of snacks. The way the middle of her outfit molds around her stomach betrays the beginnings of a pot belly.
Yeah, I might need to size up pretty soon, haha.
While that is true, you are interested in seeing if you can burst the buttons with just sheer size by the end of the day. Not that Gemini needs to know that. The busty owner of the maid cafe pulls on the hem of her top, suggesting that it might be feeling a bit snug as well.
I think I am in the same boat as you. Maybe we can find some time and do some shopping together. Could always use a second opinion.
You give her a smile as you bite into the crispy street pastry.
Sounds like a plan.
Stephanie seems to have taken well to the new world status, her workstation littered with her favorite deep-fried delicacies.
Good morning, do you mind if I grab one of these?
You say, hovering a hand over a pink frosting glazed donut coated in sprinkles. Stephanie looks as if you had just asked her for her favorite kidney. She looks down at the donut, then back up at you with puppy dog eyes. You imagine that in her head is a debate on if she could justify telling you no, despite the sea of other donuts lining the desk surrounding her. Though after much internal deliberation, she silently nods yes to you.
Well, thanks.
You pop the donut into your mouth and crunch into the sprinkles as you give Stephanie a slight wave of your hand, heading to your workstation. From behind you, you can hear Stephanie pick up the pace of her eating, clearly not wanting to have to repeat the heartbreaking process of giving up her personal snack stockpile. Your workday is less hectic than yesterday as everyone seems to have started adjusting. There is less of a sense of unknown panic, and more of people just being swamped with requests from clients for reorders, refunds, and removal of accounts. You personally found that the day has been flying by as you do your best to keep up with all the ruckus. Most of your client base have been understanding of the delays, though you did have to redirect the manager of the supermarket, who had more than one unsavory word for you about their entire stock of frozen dinners, all being replaced with sorbet. You take a break to grab yourself a snack from the vending machine, which has not only been altered to contain family-sized versions of its usual content, but also to no longer charge any money. Jumbo bag of sweet biscuits filled with a large chocolate-coated hazelnut is your snack of choice for the afternoon. The packaging shows that the bag contains 8 portions, and after you polish off the first bag within a half hour of work, you get excited when your stomach growls at you for more. You can't help but love how greedy you are getting from all of this.
I probably got time to fit in another bag before lunch.
Estimate correctly, finding that you are able to snack throughout the entire workday. Even after eating a lunch that consisted of a full pumpkin pie and a mocha latte with extra caramel drizzle, you find that your appetite doesn't subside at all. You make multiple more trips to the vending machine through the afternoon to replenish your snack supply. On one of the trips, you make a detour to Jamie's office to see if her mood had improved at all since the previous day. Peering through her window, you found Jamie standing over her desk, hands on her hips. Though rather than upset, she just looked unamused, which you guess is an improvement. Her desktop was completely obscured by dozens of chocolate chip donuts. It would appear that her refusal to partake is causing whatever force is responsible for all of this to double down its efforts on Jamie. And it looked to be working as Jamie hesitantly reached for one of the muffins before slapping her own hand away. You smirked knowing that she would slip up eventually, while you munched on sour cherry balls. On another trip to the vending machine, you ran into Celeste. Maybe it is because she is older than most of the rest of you, or it could be because she has a softer frame due to being a mother, but the effects of the sweets are already very noticeable. Her sweater was riding up over her soft belly, which was about as big as yours had been last night. Though her size comes all from fat, the way her sweater presses into the pale flesh made that clear. You are hoping that it won't take long for you to reach that point. Celeste noticed you staring, and she blushed slightly as she averted her gaze.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stare.
You say in a slight panic,
It's all right, dear. I understand. With the way things stand, it is pretty much unavoidable. I just hope that I can get control of these nasty cravings. I need to watch just how much I am eating more than ever given the circumstances.
she says with a forlorn look at the bag of candies in her hand. You can't say that you hold the same sentiment, however, as you pressed 3 buttons on the machine and filled your arms with various slightly stale gummy candies. After returning to your cubicle, the rest of the day went by without much of note. Except for maybe the fact that the discarded plastic from all your snacking was now overfilling your wastebasket, which had been empty at the beginning of the day. You lick your lips as you clock out for the day and make your way back home, excited for another evening of endless sweets and the prospect of checking on how others are dealing with their new lifestyles. You polish off a freshly baked tray of cookies as you decide what it is that you want to do with your evening. Go to the gym. You've been itching to see what has been going on with Eve's place. How will she handle the sudden change to her regimented diet and exercise program? What kind of demand does a gym have in a world full of a quickly fattening populace? You open the door to find out. The gym is bustling with people, the treadmills are all occupied, and people pedal away on stationary bicycles. Sweat pours off people's faces as AC blasts through the building in order to prevent the place from becoming a sauna. You see more pudge than usual on the clientele. Yoga pants are painted over round buttocks, and you can see sports bras failing to contain all that they need to, with little pockets of titty fat poking out of the sides and bulging over the necklines. See Evelyn hurrying about offering advice to help people get the most out of their workouts, though she seems to no longer have much of a leg to stand on in the department. She is chomping into a jumbo chocolate bar, taking bites large enough to fit a third of the bar into her mouth at a time. Little flecks of chocolate fly from her mouth as she talks to others, really undermining her words of wisdom.
Oh munch here, Aubrey. Sorry if the place is a bit too crowded for you. Lots of people are coming in trying to burn off all the unwanted calories.
She swallows the bar she is chewing on before tipping back her shaker and taking long dregs from it. You think for a moment and remember that water isn't really a thing anymore, and you watch curiously as Evelyn pulls her lips from her drink. You smell a faint hint of vanilla, and a line of milkshake dribbles down the side of the container. Looking around the gym, you see water bottles filled with bubbly soda or containers of protein shakes that have the appearance of peanut butter and chocolate swirled together. Even if people want to lose the excess they have started to put on, the reality of the situation is that if they have no choice but to eat the diet of a diabetic chocolatier, then no amount of exercise is going to save them.
If you want, I can let you use my personal space. I'm a bit too busy to make use of it anyway.
You look at the soft layer that has already obscured her once prominent abs and doubt that the only reason she isn't utilizing her private gym is because of what she is saying.
No, that is okay. I am kind of in the middle of the mother off all bulking seasons, and I wouldn't want to quit while I am still working on it. I just wanted to swing by and see how you have been dealing with all of, well, this.
You say, gesturing your hands in a way as to encircle everything.
Well, there have been a lot of new members since yesterday, but it is not that much different from New Year's Day, honestly. And in the same way, I don't expect to see even 10% of these people in a month's time. Might actually be even worse than that now that I think about it.
She says pensively, looking down at the junk that she has been eating.
I might need to start thinking about some new business strategies, just in case.
Evelyn gives you a wave as you wish her luck with all the people, and she gives you one final piece of advice before you exit the building.
You know that bulking only works if you plan on losing the weight. Isn't that right, Miss Up 3 Pantsai Zesinade?
You give her a cheeky grin over your shoulder and put a finger to your lip, tell her.
As I change.
Of all the people that you know, you figure that if anyone has a clue as to what is going on, it would be the owner of the curio. You decide to swing by and pick her brain about the current state of the world.
No clue, sorry.
The owner gives you a vacant stare as she sucks on a lollipop. Looking around, you can see that her shelves have been filled with all varieties of candies that you would expect to see in Grandma's cabinet. Hard candies, licorice, salt water taffies, malt balls, and slabs of various flavors of fudge.
Yesterday when I came into work, all of my shit had been turned into what you see now. My guess is that anything that could have been used to potentially reverse this curse went the way of the dodo. So I know about as much as you do when it comes to all this.
She says with a shrug.
Want a jawbreaker or something?
Give her a nod and stick the candy into your mouth. Well, with that, the only potential avenue to figuring out what is the cause for all of this has gone up in smoke. However, that also means that as far as you know, there is no way to make everything go back to normal. Your stomach growls ferociously, you place a hand on it and give the new pudge a squeeze. A smile creeps along your face.
Good.
Everything cool? You're kinda creeping me out with the whole quiet fondling thing.
Oh, sorry. Kind of just got lost in thought is all.
You say, placing your hands behind your back sheepishly.
Right, well, maybe do your reminiscing in the privacy of your own home from now on? Don't think as many people as me will just let you get your freak on like that. Now, if that's all you wanted from me, do you mind letting me get back to my sinking ship of a business? I need to figure out what a magic shop is supposed to do now that all the magic has been replaced with everlasting gobstoppers.
You get a notification on your phone.
Ice cream giveaway at the mall.
Pop-up from the local radio station has informed you of an all-you-can-stomach event at the mall. You are out of the apartment and are making your way to the mall food court before you even had a chance to take off your shoes. When entering the food court, you were surprised to see that it wasn't only We Scream offering the deal. All of the food stalls within the mall were getting in on the fun. As you were ordering, you asked the employee about what is happening.
All the bosses arranged this. Turns out all of the stock in all of our places had been refilled overnight. Same as everyone else. I guess they thought that no one would bother coming out to pay to eat unless they pulled a stunt like this.
Is what you were told. You think you see their reasoning. In a world of all you can eat foods, the only thing that could keep restaurants afloat would be to offer even more food, and to prepare it to a point where you would want to pay for it still. You aren't the only person who has taken advantage of the offer, seeing as how the food court is packed with people all fighting for seating. You're hunkered down for your first of soon to be many ice cream sundaes for the evening, a monstrous concoction of mint, chocolate crumble, strawberry puree, chocolate-coated wafers, candied peach slices, and layers upon layers of creamy vanilla soft serve. First few bites send your taste buds to another dimension. The combination of flavors is stellar and keeps every bite unique. The sheer amount of quality on display with this dish makes you surprised that it took a world-changing event to make restaurants realize that combining efforts could yield such potent results. You begin to shovel spoonfuls into your mouth as fast as you can, knowing that the only thing waiting for you at the bottom of this glass is another serving.
Why can't I stop?
You are broken from your eating frenzy at the sound of the soft words coming from next to you, barely audible and more of a moan than a whisper. Beth has once again unintentionally decided to join you for dinner. A twinge of annoyance hits you as you realize that she has gotten a larger sundae than you did. You will have to make sure to ask around to see which place is offering them in that size. Watch as she takes her spoon roughly twice the size of a normal tablespoon and scoops enough ice cream to probably fill a pint, before carefully slotting the entire thing into her mouth. Her cheeks puff out cutely, and a small dribble of sundae leaks from her overstuffed mouth. She swallows it all quickly and swipes the bit that escapes from the corner of her mouth before licking her thumb clean. Based on the extra poundage that has been forming around her legs and belly, you would guess that she has about as much success holding back her hunger as you have. Which is to say, not at all. The key difference here being that she is still lying to herself about where all of this food is leading to. Here is hoping that you can see more of her around as the days pass, because you definitely want to see the outcome. However, you can't let the sight of another slowly chubning girl distract you from your true goal. To see just how far you can push yourself in this world, seemingly designed to now help you get as fat as possible. You quickly finish off your first sundae and make tracks to one of the different food stalls to see if you can find where Beth found hers. It wasn't until your fourth sundae that you found out that Hungry Dragon of all the places was the one offering the biggest sundaes.
Should have figured the Chinese food place would have the biggest portions.
With that knowledge in hand, you committed yourself to continuing until either the mall closed or your stomach finally calling it quits. Though you suspected that the former was much more likely given just how much snacking you've done over the past 2 days, and the fact that you have yet to feel truly full. Stack of dirty dishes pile up on the table next to you, which you are purposefully letting happen. You find it extremely to see the amount continue to climb as you keep on eating. Once standing up started to become a hassle with your overstuffed gut, you asked if the staff would be willing to just start delivering them to you, which they comply with. Belly stretches and distends further and further with each passing jumbo sundae. You undo your pants to allow for more room, and you roll up the underside of your tank top to keep any pressure off of your belly as it grows. The sun sets, and the janitorial staff begins to clean up the huge mess that has been left by all the people. You are the only person still seated when eventually you are asked to make your way home. At that word, you take your sundae, tip it ass over end, and let the rest of the soft serve slide down your gullet and into the bottomless abyss of your belly.
URP Huff, oh God, that was so good. I hope that this isn't the last time you all host an event like this.
You say through heavy panting breaths. With much struggle, you begin the long trek back to your home. Sweating and drooling at the throat of your still-stocked fridge at home, you make your way to the train station, drawing the eyes of passers-by when they catch a glimpse of your giant wobbling overstuffed belly. You are cooking yourself a heaping stack of flapjacks for breakfast. You find that your mind wanders to the tube of toothpaste that had also been replaced with dessert. You had been under the impression that it was just food and drink that had been replaced for some reason, but maybe that was just you being short-sighted. You look over at your windowsill and stare at the rubber plant that calls its perch home. Reach out to it and pluck one of the leaves off the stem, and immediately the texture feels off. Giving the foliage a cursory squeeze between your fingers, you notice that it is firm and springs back to shape. Bringing the tip of the leaf to your lips, you take the smallest nibble out to test your theory, only to follow it up with a much larger bite.
It's chewy.
Leaves of the plant have been replaced with gummy candy. Sticking your hand into the plant, you grab the stem to find that it has been changed to peanut brittle. The implications of this are many, leaving you wondering just how many unclaimed sweets there are in the world that are simply waiting to be discovered. You let your mind wander as you finish preparing your breakfast alongside a handful of the gummy leaves. The train to work is mostly uneventful today. You spend the time watching people, taking in how chunky everyone seems to be getting, though you feel that you have begun to outpace the average train goer.
You're not hiding that belly as well as you think, girl. Oh, maybe I should look into making my own holes in my pants instead of just letting them rip. Looks more stylish. Milkshake to fill out her milkshake. It's almost like poetry.
Out of your bag, you pull out a bottle of maple syrup that is 3/4 full from your breakfast. You unscrew the lid and begin to chug the thick syrupy liquid. This is a habit that you have started to do over the last few days. The way you figure, if all the food in your home is going to be restocked anyway, it would be wasteful of you not to finish off every container of food that you open. It was a little rough on the first day. You have since come to quite enjoy the sensation of the thick drink as it slides down your throat. You get a few stares, but you are long past the point of caring. All you want as of now is to be fatter, greedier, more gluttonous than you could have ever dreamt of before. If anything, you have been contemplating taking this idea even further. Maybe that is something you will try tonight. You lick the rim of the bottle as you suckle back the last few drops of syrup as your train rolls into the station. You toss the empty bottle to the ground with a clatter, grab your work bag and head to the exit. Lobby of the building has the now familiar sight of Stephanie gorging herself on donuts. Your best guess is that whatever cosmic force is imposing its will on the universe has taken note of her unusual predilection for them and is providing them in kind. Her entire desk area is flooded with donuts. They are practically pouring out of every drawer and littering every surface. She has taken to just eating them in single bites. You watch in awe as she pushes a honey cruller into her mouth, chews quickly for a second or two, and then begins to follow it up with a Boston cream donut. Gains have been steady and noticeable. Her belly is distended and has untucked her shirt, the tails of the shirt acting as a curtain opening up to a play, with her belly button at center stage for all to see. Her eyes sparkle with happiness, and you think to yourself that she probably likes donuts even more than you like anything else in the world.
MMMF, Aubrey did you he, today sha pizza party day. I think shama THSH staff ish really excited to get to eat shon regular fu again. Oh, Aubrey did you hear? Today is a pizza party day. I think some of the staff is really excited to get to eat some regular food again.
You stop dead in your tracks.
Wait, normal-ass pizza.
You can't help but hide the worry in your voice.
How could this happen?
You wonder to yourself. You were convinced that everything was saturated with sugar and fat and cream and butter, and all the things that make it so easy to get fat fast. Maybe someone had figured out how to undo it all. Does that mean that eventually you will have to go back to normal day-to-day life? As you have a mild personal crisis in the middle of the SBC lobby, you hear the front doors slide open as Jamie enters. Amy gave up her resistance a couple of days ago, and you can already see that she's making up for lost time. Unsurprisingly, the weight is focusing on her chest, which refuses to be buttoned up at this point. Her cleavage is impressive and enticing. It is unusual for her to be late, but honestly most people aren't all that focused on work these days, as the temptation of food has begun to take hold over not just the people working here, but pretty much everyone else too. You know that your client base has long since stopped complaining and has begun to accept the snacking into their lives.
What is the problem, Aubrey? You look upset about something.
Jamie asks you mid-bite.
Oh, I'm just, thinking about the pizza lunch is all.
Yes, you and everyone else it seems. It will be here in time for lunch break. I am sure that you can all find ways to keep your appetites in check until then.
She shoves the rest of the muffin into her mouth, walking away as she slowly chews the much too large mouthful of food, swiping another muffin off of the top of a filing cabinet that seems to have been waiting just for her. Your morning goes by in a blur of trips to the vending machine. You think you might have handled a single email by the time lunch rolls around. Pizza time. You've heard murmurs from coworkers throughout the day about how pizza is coming, and how it will be the first meal in a week that any of them have had that even remotely resembles a balanced meal. You don't understand the excitement. You honestly think that they are all being snobbish to be turning up their noses at the good thing that you all have going. With a heavy heart, you slide open the door to the break room, only to hear an outbreak of confusion, frustration, and chewing.
But why?
Holly is standing with a stunned look on her face. In front of her waiting to be eaten looks to be a dessert pizza, covered in whipped cream, chocolate sauce drizzle, and sliced candied banana. Looking around the room, you see a variety of other similarly dressed up pizzas. One with caramel drizzle, cinnamon-soaked apples, frosting, and granola crumble, another with strawberries floating in their own syrup, icing, and powdered sugar. You practically jump for joy knowing that the crisis has been averted. Around the room, you see a mix of emotions among your coworkers. Some look as disappointed as Kali is, others begrudgingly grab a slice, but then there are those like you that cannot wait to dig in. Jade scoops up a slice in her hand and takes a hearty bite. She has been piling on the weight at almost the same rate as you have, though you have a pretty good read on the fact that she is just in it for the food and less for the thrill of it all like you are.
Hey, if you don't want it, Kali, then that leaves more for me.
Blossom has absconded to her own private section with a whole pizza that he is eating greedily. You watch as she takes a slice and rolls it into a tube and devours it in a few bites. You figure that if she keeps up like that, then she will be needing a second chair before long.
MMMPH so freaking good.
Less belly bouncing along with her steps as she walks across the room, a pair of slices in her hands. She can't even be bothered to wait till she sits before helping herself to a bite. A glob of icing follows the bite and lands near the collar of her shirt. She quickly finishes the slice she started and then pulls the fabric of her shirt to her mouth and claps onto it, sucking the icing clean. A noticeable wet spot on her shirt is the only indicator of what happened.
SHHH, that's between us, okay.
You decide to take the front stage. Seating yourself right between 4 different pizzas, your stomach wakes like a bear coming out of its slumber, practically roaring in anticipation of what is to come. The speed and precision of a trained marksman, you snatch slices from different pies and begin to eat. You bite as you slowly, continuously push the food into your mouth, forcing yourself to take even more bites despite still in the process of chewing. This technique allows you to keep food coming at a constant pace. As soon as one slice of pizza is done, you already have another working its way into you, with your free hand loading another round. Speed at which you eat catches your other coworkers off guard. Kali looks on in horror as your belly slowly swells in size to accommodate one full pizza after another. Celeste gives you a concerned look like she's watching a mistake in the making, but you don't care, she just doesn't understand just how much you need this. Blossom sees your gluttony from her corner and picks up the pace of her eating, obviously inspired. Lastly, Jade cheers you on as you begin tackling the fourth pizza.
Whoa, you got this, Aubrey. Hell yeah.
With a final push, you swallow the last of the fourth dessert pizza and lean back into your chair, breathing heavily as if you had just run a marathon.
BUR puff so huff good.
Begin to slowly rub your belly as it has already begun to work on digesting all the food. This is the closest that you have felt full in days, but that might just be from how quickly you ate everything. You can practically feel your stomach begin to deflate underneath your touch. The rate at which your body is metabolizing the food making it so that you know that by the time the workday is over you will be eager for more. But as for now, with Jade helping you to your feet, you waddle out of the break room to finish off the rest of the day of work. Making sure to relish the feeling of everyone's eyes on you as you hoist your swollen gut back to its workstation. Finish work and go home. You sweep crumbs out from between your cleavage, having had a quick snack before deciding what you want to do for the evening. Go to the park. You've been thinking to yourself about how little exercise you have been getting lately. You do love how fast the pounds have been piling on, but at the same time maybe you should try and get some steps in while you still have the ability to do so. If things stay as they are, you don't doubt that you could become unwilling or even unable to enjoy a nice walk out in the sun. But mostly, you are curious to see what has happened to your favorite hot dog stand. While enjoying the fresh air and taking special note of the extra bounce to your body with every step, you see that someone else is also attempting to get some exercise. But unlike you think that it is because she is actually trying. Looks like despite her efforts to keep up her exercise routine, Beth has continued to pile on the pounds. You can't really fault her, considering the lack of healthy meal options, but at the same time, you have seen girls that started heavier than her not put on nearly as much weight. Seems she lacks the willpower to actually keep her snacking to a minimum. And if that is the case, you figure that the least you could do is see if she wants to join you for a quick bite to eat.
Hey there, wow, it looks like you've really managed to work up a sweat. Good on you. But I know that whenever I go for a run, I am starving by the time I am done.
Oh, haha, yeah. I hear you, but that would kind of beat the whole point of it all, you know. Gotta try and keep it together, especially lately.
She can't meet you in the eye as she talks, knowing that she doesn't really have any right to be lecturing people on taking care of themselves. And as if to undermine her point even further, her stomach lets out a roar of hunger.
Well, it sounds like you could really use a pick-me-up at the very least. You need the calories if you want to get a proper workout in. There was a hot dog stand in this area that I was a big fan of. Let's go see if they are still open.
Beth looks down at her flabby body and is on the verge of turning you down. But her stomach rumbles once more, and her fragile willpower gives out as she nods solemnly.
Yeah, okay, a little something probably wouldn't kill me. Really, another one.
Beth says desperately as the hot dog vendor hands her her fourth jumbo-sized dessert dog of the afternoon. Despite her protest, she takes it in hand and bites into it with as much gusto as she did for the first three. We're pleasantly surprised to see the hot dog stand was still up and running, though it obviously had to make some changes, and you are pretty impressed with the innovation that he has made. The whiners are made from cylinders of deep-fried cookie dough, the bun is made from an oversized snack cake that has been split down the middle. And he offers a wide variety of condiments such as cherry sauce, caramel drizzle, hot fudge, whipped cream, maraschino cherries, and sprinkle. And while your friend has been more hesitant to indulge, you have dived into your meal head first, made sure to get the works on your dogs, and it has left quite the mess. Your cleavage is covered in splatters of various sauces that you are intentionally letting collect so that you can suck it all up after the fact. You recently learned that your breasts are large enough that you can easily lift them to your lips, and you have gotten much pleasure at the fact that you can run a tongue along the soft skin. The button of your pants gave out part way through your second hot dog, and your belly has only swelled out even further since. Slide your fifth hot dog into your mouth and take bites as you continue to push it down your throat, not allowing yourself enough time to properly chew. Your cheeks are full, and it takes you much effort to even close your jaw, but you are training yourself to let your throat go lax so that you can have larger portions of food just slide down into your belly. Your hope is that eventually you will be able to eat something like one of these hot dogs without having to worry about chewing. Unfortunately, today is not that day. You get to your feet after your sixth dog and decide that has been enough for you. You have plans for later tonight and you want to save some room for that. You help Beth to her feet only for the two of you to be a little closer than expected. Your two overstuffed belly bump into each other, both firm from the amount of food inside of them, but soft from the extra weight you have both put on. You can't help but smile at the feeling, while Beth looks mortified that she has let this happen.
Sorry, I need to go. I'll see you around.
She quickly runs away, and you can't help but find an extra skip in your step as you make your way back home. Check in on Sisai, make your way to Sisai's alley. There are stacks of boxes filled with hard candies lining it from one end to the other. Whether she has been stockpiling or if the curse is providing for her, you aren't sure. One thing you are sure of though is that she isn't here. She isn't hiding in her nook, she isn't inside one of the boxes, buried under treats, and she isn't dumpster diving. You begin to worry that maybe she got desperate for something other than sugar, and that things might take a turn for the drastic, only to have those thoughts dashed aside by the sound of clattering dishes and muffled mewing. At the far end of the alley, next to an overfilled dumpster, you see a door that has been propped open slightly, and inside you can make out the sounds of someone making a mess. You pull the door open enough so that you can peek inside, where you can see a familiar-looking, long purple tail swishing back and forth. The body that the tail is attached to, though, that is a bit less familiar. Sisai is hunched over in the middle of the kitchen. The doors to the pantry, walk-in refrigerator and dry storage area have been flung open, and there are all manners of food strewn across the floor. Prepared pancake breakfasts, half-eaten muffins with the wrappers still on, puddles of chocolate milk, a literal mound of whipped cream, and more leave the kitchen looking more like a Sushin war zone. You watch as Sisai haphazardly squeezes a piping bag filled with whipped cream right in the middle, which causes the fluff to somewhat escape the nozzle, but mostly shoot out of the top and land with a plop on the pancakes in front of her. The desired result either way, you suppose.
Hey there, Sisai, what are you doing in here by yourself?
You ask, taking a cautious step into the room, trying to avoid filling your shoes with random foodstuff as you move through the kitchen. Sai turns her head over her shoulder to see who is interrupting her eating time. You can see the folds of fat in her back bunch up as she does so. She's much larger since last you visited, with her belly now serving as a soft mattress for her to rest on as she eats. Her ass has ballooned in size, so much so that the strained fabric of her jean shorts only manage to reach half down. Her thighs are spread far apart just due to the natural thickness of them. You don't think she could bring her legs closer together even if she wanted to.
Red girl, go away. This Sisai's hunting spot.
There doesn't appear to be another soul in the restaurant. You peek your head through the door that leads to the front of the building and see all of the chairs are up, and the tables are covered in heavy white cloth. You can make out multiple signs plastered on the windows that read "Thanks for the memories." You suppose that Sisai must have stumbled upon a restaurant that had closed down due to the circumstances, though that doesn't seem to have stopped the replenishing of food. In all honesty, of all the alternatives that Sisai could have turned to, her having a place to herself is probably about as good as things could have gone.
Don't worry, Sisai, I've got my own hunting grounds elsewhere. I was just coming to check in on you is all. Looks like you are doing well.
Sisai good, more flat sticky prey for Sisai. Prey keeps coming, prey so dumb.
She says, jamming a chubby fist into the stack of pancakes and pulling a big chunk into her mouth. Her method is less than dignified, but it is clearly getting results.
Yeah, I suppose they are. Well, I am happy for you. I was worried that you would have been doing some desperate stuff with how things have been, but it looks like you figured it out. I'll leave this place to you, Sisai. Wouldn't want to piss off the top cat after all.
Haha, red girl no Sisai top cat. Red girl's smart.
With that, you wish Sisai well and leave out back into the alley, the sound of messy eating accompanying your exit. Check in with Sweet Cravings, who've been worried about Sweet Cravings. You had been thinking that surely that it would be struggling to bring in people now that the world is willing to just bring donuts to whoever wants them free of charge. All you have to do is look at Stephanie to see that is the case. So how does a bakery manage to still keep the business flowing in a world like that? Well, it turns out the answer is to just go bigger. The shelves of the bakery are filled with pastries of ridiculous proportions. Cakes the size of a desk, donuts as large as a throw pillow, and pies with enough filling in them to overflow a bathtub. Owner of the bakery looks to have been using herself as her prime taste tester, looking almost as doughy as the goodies that she has been baking. She has bulked up considerably, with her ass looking juicy and her arms wrapped in a thick coat of fat. As she whisks the batter she is preparing, you aren't sure which jiggles more, the batter itself or her heavy breasts.
Wow, how did you even manage to bake something that size? Wouldn't that make it harder for it to actually be cooked all the way through?
You ask, pointing to one of the jumbo donuts that are glazed with pink frosting. The owner of the bakery gives you a sly smile and places a hand on her wide hip. Wiping her brow, she says, "Doubting the expert, huh? Why don't you give one a taste for yourself and then you can judge?" She walks over to the shelf, slides a large wooden pizza paddle underneath the heavy confection, and pulls it off the shelf. She places the donut on her baking surface and gives you the okay to take it for yourself. You struggle just to lift the donut up, it being awkward to try and maneuver into your mouth, considering that it is the size of a life preserver. But using your most bountiful chest as a shelf, you are able to get it at an angle where you are able to plunge your face into the treat, and take a healthy bite out of it. True to her word, the bakery owner has produced a donut that not only manages to be larger than you have ever seen, but just as delicious as its smaller brethren. The dough is airy and chewy, the outside is slightly crisp and the frosting is sweet, but not so much that it overshadows the rest of the treat. You can't help yourself from making quick work of the treat. Your stomach pushes out as more than a dozen pounds of carbs and sugar fill your gut. You lick frosting clean from your fingers, and can't help but grin happily at the bakery owner.
I'm glad you liked it, but don't expect any more freebies. The ingredients may be free now, but the labor and rent sure aren't, so please spread the word.
You promise her that you will do so as you give a lazy wave on your way out of the store. You are no longer concerned that she will keep her doors open. That donut alone was enough to make you consider emptying your bank account just for a second one. Others will surely feel the same.
Time for some me time.
Yawn loudly as you carry yourself over to the kitchen. The floor creaks with each footstep as the floorboards threaten to splinter under your steps. You feel so drained in the morning. Your body isn't used to going so long without food anymore. You need to see if you can find a way to keep yourself fed while also sleeping. The way you see it, it is just a waste of potential eating time. Standing in front of your fridge, you let your weight drop to the ground with a heavy thud and open the door. Breakfast has begun. Looks like crepes are what is on the menu today. You take one in each hand and begin to shove them into your mouth. Your bites are rapid, and you finish off the first one in a matter of seconds. You have to admit that you are pretty impressed with how much better you have gotten at this over the last month. But at the same time you only have so much time in the morning before you have to go to work, and there is a lot of food in the fridge. It was about 3 days ago that you found that your ability to eat and digest the entire fridge for breakfast was within your capabilities. The way you see it, if there is food left in the fridge by the time the day is over, then you aren't taking full advantage of the situation. Now that you can get it done in the morning, that leaves the rest of the day for you to find other things to devour. You've been keeping a close eye on your gains since this all started, and as time goes on your rate of growth has been increasing at an exponential rate. You were excited when you hit the 100 kg mark a month ago, and you've doubled that number since then. The majority of that came in the last week. Today your goal is to see just how much you can put on in a single day.
First things first.
You think as you unpack your breakfast snack cakes and unscrew a 2-liter bottle of cola. Finish breakfast and get ready for work. You had to make a detour on your way to the train station to pick up some much-needed supplies. You miss your Intel train because of it, but you are sure that Jamie will understand. You find the cart you are on is mostly empty, possibly due to the fact that you are running behind the usual morning traffic, or maybe because there are less people even bothering to work nowadays. Either way, it is to your advantage as it allows you a seat to yourself. You drop your weight onto the seating with a loud whump. You love that sound, the way the air rushes out from under your ass and the settling of your weight. It lets you know just how fat you are getting. Set down next to you the reason that you are late. 2 extra large bulk bags of saltwater taffy. You lean back against the seat and begin to shovel candy into your mouth, wanting to finish off the many pieces of taffy you purchased before you get to work. Your blouse strains across your chest as another button threatens to pop loose. The fabric already gapes where it can't quite contain you, offering a glimpse of the large curves pushing against it. Thighs press wide across the bench, stocking seams stretched thin and riddled with tears where they've given up the fight. Your belly rests heavily in your lap, warm and full, shifting slightly with each piece of candy you slide between your lips. The green vinyl squeaks faintly beneath you as the seat itself threatens to give out. You've broken chairs at this point, but steel-reinforced ones? That would be a new record. You can't help but smile as you chew on the soft candy, letting yourself fall into a rhythm of bite, chew, and swallow. The rocking of the train accompanies you, and you feel like you are in a zen state.
Aubrey, is that you?
In your trance, you didn't notice that Gemini had entered the train cart as well. You haven't seen her since that time you went shopping, and it looks like she has been eating pretty healthily given the roundness of her face, and well, the fact that her breasts look to be the size of bean-bag chairs. How she manages to keep them from falling all over the place must be some kind of sorcery.
Jesus Christ, I had been wondering where you had been since you haven't come to the cafe in a while. I guess you've been busy.
He says as she stares at your sheer size in awe.
Oh well, that's one way to put it, haha.
You say, slapping your belly and letting it jostle for a few seconds.
I've had my focus pulled elsewhere, as you can probably relate.
Gemini's gaze is stuck on your wobbling gut, but your words snap her back to reality. She blushes slightly as she shifts her weight from side to side, her chest swaying like the pendulum of a clock.
I've been pretty busy at the cafe. There have been lots of orders for treats, and I've had a hard time saying no to sampling my own wares. You should see the other girls though. If you think I've put on some weight, they will blow you away.
She pauses, giving you a once-over with her eyes.
Well, maybe not you exactly, but the customers have been spoiling them and it is showing.
Seems her sales pitch was intended for people that aren't quite as obsessed with getting fat as you are.
Well, if your treats are as good as you say they are, Then I will make sure to swing by after work today to give them a taste test and say hi.
I'm glad to hear it. I'll make sure to save you a spot. Now I'll let you get back to what you were doing. I feel like I might have interrupted something.
You wrap your chubby fingers around a fistful of candy and shove it into your mouth.
Thanks, and you were.
You say, giving her a wave of your fingers.
Morning, Stephanie.
You say as you walk in. You know, not expect an actual response since Stephanie is always more focused on more important things these days. Desk is overflowing with donuts, the drawers are open and you can see they are packed tight with them, filing cabinets are having donuts spilling out of them, and you can't even see the floor as they litter the whole lobby. Stephanie just spends her entire shift nowadays eating donuts, and the curse rewards her gluttony in kind. Every day it feels like the number of them just keeps going up along with her weight.
Gulp chew.
She rests on the ground, her clothing in tatters as her belly pools around her lap. The gap in her shirt shows off how much bustier she has become, and her soft behind acts as a cushion for her to rest on as she shovels more pastries into her mouth. You notice her office chair is bent out of shape and being neglected. You will have to remind Jade to give you $5 later, seeing as how you were closer to guessing when the struggling seat would give out. Stephanie waves a chubby hand at you as you pass by to indicate that she saw you, but her mouth is too busy chewing to properly greet you. You don't mind though. You've been in the same position a lot recently, and it's not as if most people are actually here to do work these days. Seeing as how SBC is a food-affiliated corporation, with many means with which to provide, the main reason that you, or most of the people working here for that matter, are still here, is because of the frankly absurd amount of free food they have been providing you with since the world got flipped on its head a month ago. And as if to really drive home that point, when you enter your cubicle you find a pleasant surprise. Multi-layer tower of a strawberry shortcake sits on your desk, waiting for you. You are used to there being some sort of dessert at your desk when you come into work, provided by whatever cosmic force is doing all of this, but this is far beyond the usual treat. This is exceptional. You take a seat in your chair, which creaks ominously. You were pretty smug about Stephanie breaking her chair, but you honestly are a little annoyed that yours has proven to be so stubborn. Hopefully after this cake you can put it in its place. Not wanting to waste any more time, you shove a hand into the side of the cake and grab a handful of fluffy filling, which you greedily begin to devour. Whole strawberries soaked in a sugary syrup are shingled between the many layers of the cake. A strawberry jelly has been injected into the cake, which has soaked through and has made the whole thing extremely moist. And the frosting is filled with so much butter and sugar that you can feel your ass spreading out further along your chair with each bite. As you lick your fingers clean, not wanting to potentially miss a single morsel of this dessert, Jamie's voice breaks through the sound of your piggish display.
Well, I am happy to see someone is enjoying their birthday cake.
Standing outside your cubicle is the CAO herself, arms filled with twin paper bags shoved full of chocolate chip muffins. A typical sight these days. Her blazer barely managed to hold on as her prodigious chest, along with her not sizable belly, tested the seamwork. She is in the middle of her own feast but has made the time to stop by to see your treat.
HMMPH, gulp itch my birthday.
You ask, not even bothering to stop your eating. You have been so focused on stuffing your fat face that you had completely forgotten what day it was.
Well, according to our records it is, and as such we chew provided something gulp little just for you.
Look up at the cake that is tall enough to peek over the walls of your cubicle and take a second to think about how you can take advantage of this situation. Maybe not at work since they already gave you this behemoth of a cake, but surely other places will have some kind of birthday giveaways. Your mind gets racing as to what you will be doing after work now. But that can come later, you already have quite the task in front of you.
Well, thanks so much chomp, it's really goo I'd gulp.
Of course, now if you excuse me, I have my own business to attend to.
She says, tilting her head to one of the bags of muffins.
Oh, and I suppose if you have time, maybe look into getting a couple of clients done.
You give a thumbs up as you bury your face further into the cake, excavating the insides of it like a miner. You might try and get some work done today, but honestly, it seems unlikely. You make sure to grab something to tide you over between your next stop of the evening. Every moment you aren't eating something leaves you starved for more. Better hurry. Check out the tiki bar. Visiting the tiki bar, you find a distinctly chubbier Puka. She gives you a friendly wave before heading behind the bar and running her fingers along the various liqueurs that are available. Of note, you find that all of the hard liquor appears to be gone. You figure they must not have had a high enough sugar content for whatever is calling the shots. Both been hitting the treats pretty hard, Well, my ma used to always say that healthy appetite meant a healthy body, though she might not have had this quite in mind at the time. Haha heck, even the sea goddess blessing can't seem to keep up with me. Who knows though, maybe in time oldest Pudge will migrate north. Could you imagine how big the girls would be then? Anyway, grab you a drink on the house. Stock refreshes every day, so feel free to help yourself. Might I recommend the strong stuff, It's been mostly what I've been drinking. You nod, might as well live a little.
Give me the bottle.
Puka raises an eye and shrugs. A big gal like you can probably handle it. Probably, go crazy. Twist off the top of the bottle labeled Crème de Bonbon and give it a whiff. It smells sickeningly sweet, and it has a pleasing creamy light brown color to it. The label on the side reads that the bottle is 24 alcohol, but as you take the first sips, there is no way anyone would be able to tell with how much sugar must be in the bottle. It goes down smooth, like drinking melted ice cream. Before you know it, you tilt the bottle completely vertical in order to get the last few drops before pulling it from your lips and slamming the bottle on the wooden counter of Puka's tiki bar. Oh wow, I normally pace myself throughout the day, and even then I almost never finish a whole bottle. How you feeling? You wipe your lips with the back of your hand and with a smug grin say,
I feel great, barely even an ought Ike EIT.
Before you can even finish your sentence, the world begins to spin, all of the alcohol that you just drank rushing to your head and making you uneasy on your feet. You stumble slightly and catch yourself on the counter. Whoa, yeah, that was probably stupid of me to let you do that. Hey, Aubrey, come on, focus on me. You blink hard, trying to focus, but you are finding that hard to do when Puka keeps moving like that.
Ooh, oh no, ooh.
Is all you are able to say before blacking out. Luckily for you, your ability to metabolize things at a greatly accelerated rate comes in handy once again, and you wake up only a half hour later with a gnarly headache for your troubles.
Grown, I guess I can't handle my liquor as well as I thought I could.
You say, getting to your feet, Puka was kind enough to have dragged you to the side of the bar where you were taking a nice nap in the sand while working off your drink. Probably had more to do with the fact that you drank enough to knock out a horse in a matter of seconds. I'm more impressed that you're already up, honestly, though I'm going to cut you off there. Just because I got a bottomless well doesn't mean that I can go around being stupid like that. Lesson learned. You brush the sand off of your pants, thank Puka, and decide that it is time to head home and get prepped for the rest of the evening. Go to Fantasy Fusion.
Hello, dear master. I am glad that you were able to find the time to come and visit. Please follow me. We have a seat prepared for you for your birthday. I hope you're hungry.
She gives you a wink, obviously knowing that you are. Somehow everyone seemed to remember your birthday except for you, but you won't say no to being pampered. Dasha.
Happy birthday. Have a little something on us.
Nice to see you. I know how hard it can be to say no to the treats around here, haha. Don't let me stop you two. A sweet treat for the birthday girl.
Well, look what the cat dragged in. Crazy to think you got even fatter than I did. Here, let me help with that. I know you want me to.
Hey ya dude, long time no see, been enjoying the good life too, huh? Awesome. Master, an absolute pleasure it is to see you grace our door again. I wish that this meager offering is enough to sate someone of your stature.
Hey there, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who has let the desserts get the better of her. If you aren't careful, I might be the one to help get you unstuck soon. Happy birthday.
You sit back and let all of the dessert settle. You cradle your engorged stomach as it works on digesting all of the free food that was just forced upon you. You feel slightly full with how fast you just ate everything, but you know by the time you get back home that you will be ready for more. You want to be able to eat more. Maybe the curio is hiding something. You squish through the front door of the curio. The doorway is narrower than you are wide, so you have to force your way through. The door frame creaks and you figure it won't be long before you will be too big for most places. Ideally after today, if they have anything that will help you with what you have in mind. You don't see anyone manning the storefront, and you begin to creep around the shop seeing if there is anything that catches your interest. The shelves are filled with glass jars of hard candies and various candies that would have been popular during war times. You were hoping that maybe the owner would have gotten something in since all of her stuff had been replaced, but that doesn't appear to be the case. You grab a jar from one of the shelves. It is filled with a bunch of fruit-flavored bite-sized sugar candies, and begin to munch as you look around. Surely someone must be here, otherwise the door wouldn't have been unlocked, you call out.
Hey, is anyone here?
Oh shit, yeah, I'm in the back, just haven't had any customers in a bit so you caught me in the middle of something.
You hear the owner reply. You slowly make your way to the back storage area of the shop, and you find a much plumper version of the shop owner bent over some boxes that she is riffling through.
Oh, it's you. I see that you already helped yourself to whatever you felt like. Not that it matters, I guess. And judging on your size, it's not the first time either.
Thanks for noticing.
You say as you crunch down on a candy.
Well, what do you need? Your largeness? As you already know, I don't really have much to offer outside of old lady candy and my winning personality.
What are you up to back here?
You ask, your curiosity getting the better of you.
Well, not that you care, but I am trying to find anything that might help to get things back to normal. I for one am getting sick of eating nothing but the diabetic special. Unfortunately, the only things that this shitstorm of a curse even bothered to leave me with are of the ironic persuasion.
She sifts through the box in front of her with some difficulty thanks to her heaving chest, and pulls out various baubles and knickknacks that don't seem to be much of anything.
Just a bunch of stuff that was on the shelves as collectibles, you know, for sad cat ladies and quirky old bitches who aren't like the rest of the girls. So no shock that I was allowed to keep these. This, however,
She says, pulling out a small satchel that is tied at one end.
this is some sort of drug that was made use of as part of a cultish ritual revolving around brainless hedonism. It would make the ingester's appetite go crazy while suppressing their ability to recognize fullness. So of course, this is what I am left with.
She scrunches the bag in her hand and tosses it aside. Your eyes fixate on the bag and you know that you need it. You are ready to go even further, and this sounds like just the way to do that.
So, I did kind of come here looking for some way to help eat more and well.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. Have you looked at yourself at all lately? You legitimately might be the fattest person I have ever met and you aren't satisfied.
She looks at you in pure disbelief. You, on the other hand, can't help but feel elated that someone just said that to you.
No, I'm not. I want to be enormous.
You say, deliberately biting down onto another candy, as loudly as you can to punctuate the statement.
Plus, it is my birthday today, suo.
The goth rolls her eyes and lets out a grunt that is a mixture of defeat and disgust.
Whatever, I don't even care anymore. Have fun turning yourself into a fat vat, you weirdo.
She picks up the bag off the ground and tosses it to you.
How much do I need to take?
You ask, giving the bag a shake.
How would I know? All I ever know is the spiel that someone gives to me when they are trying to hawk their wares. And besides, even if I knew, it's not like it would stop you from taking too much anyway, so use your best judgment.
I bet the grocery store has a bunch of extra food. All right, let's do this.
You think to yourself, looking at a glass of fruit punch to which you added the powder that you got from the curio. You gulp nervously in anticipation and chug the drink in a matter of seconds. Your stomach groans and you do feel hungry, but that is just the norm for you these days. No matter how much you eat, that never really goes away, so whether it had an effect or not, you aren't sure. Readjust your snug orange tank top that is showing off your impressive cleavage. Your belly hangs heavily as it continues to grumble. You've managed to tuck part of it into the waist of your yoga pants. Though they are already splitting near your hips and thighs, if all goes according to plan, you'll be bursting out of them by the end of the night. You leave your apartment and, as quickly as you can manage, make the short walk to your usual grocery store. The hunger in your belly becomes more pronounced and demanding as you do. Entering the building, you see that the shelves are overflowing with stock. Food is stacked high in the aisles and overtaking parts of the floor. Because everything has been replaced by dessert, the normal layout of the store is irrelevant. Pies where produce would have been, the deli is overflowing with sugary condiments and sauces, the freezer section is still the freezer section, but there is not much space between the racks of ice cream. The aisles are packed with a myriad of treats and confectionery. The bread section has been converted to a bakery and has every imaginable pastry. The shelves are full of all sorts of cookies, brownies, cakes, pies, and other desserts. Your stomach roars. It knows that you are mere seconds from relief and it demands for it. Strangely, the only other person in the store is Diane, who sits behind the checkout counter, or rather you should say, looks to be stuck back there. Consider just how fat she is now.
Oh, welcome. I'm not really used to seeing people actually coming here anymore. People don't have much reason to do their own grocery shopping.
I'm crazy hungry and I've already cleared out my apartment. I'm looking to get more.
You say, you can feel yourself about to drool and your breathing begins to quicken. You feel ravenous. You are thinking that powder might have done the trick.
Well, help yourself. This place refills on its own every morning, so I don't care if you eat everything. The bosses are basically running on infinite supply at this point, so they can afford a few free samples.
Diane says dismissively, as she chomps into a chocolate bar.
Knock yourself out.
There is something you have always wanted to try, even as a little girl. You head over to an aisle that is top to bottom filled with every kind of cookie imaginable. With a wild smile, you grab the first box within reach, rip off the top, and begin your feast. You stuff a cookie in your mouth and moan at the sweetness, but are already moving on to the next one before the first even makes it down your gullet. Your belly grumbles, protesting to the meager amounts you are feeding it. You pat your stomach to reassure that soon it will have its fill. You can hear your stomach gurgle and moan as the sugary snacks fill you. You tip the box on its end and let the cookies fall into your waiting mouth. You barely chew because all you care about is quantity at this point. You've trained yourself for this. You loosen your throat and let the cookies fall. You quickly move on to a second box and then third. Your stomach still is painfully empty. In fact, the more you eat, the less sated you feel. You look at the large amount of cookies still on the shelf and prepare yourself as you pick up your pace. You start stuffing handfuls of cookies into your mouth at once. You don't have time to savor their sweetness, not that you are doing this for the flavor, and you let the food fall straight down your gullet. You can feel it travel all the way down. Your belly is swelling. The waistband of your yoga pants is digging in, but the fabric is stretching, allowing it to accommodate the mass filling you. You're sure that they won't last for much longer. You toss the boxes aside as you empty them, leaving a trail of destruction in your path. Having cleared the top row, you move on to the next row and begin again. Your hunger is only growing stronger, only to be mixed with your building desire to get larger.
I want more.
You think, you continue to eat. Your gut swells and is pressed up against the shelf, knocking several boxes of the treats to the ground, which you simply step on and crush as you move on to the next row. You can hear the sound of seams being stretched beyond their limit. The tight fabric's beginning to rip, you feel it tear open across the middle, and your belly falls forward like a rush water from a broken dam. Unconstrained, it swells to its proper size, a large round sphere. The skin pink from being compressed for so long, it is hanging low and pressing into the edge of the shelf as it expands to hold all the calories you've fed it. There are still more cookies, you know you can do it. You won't stop until you have devoured them all. With a greedy hand you begin to stuff your mouth again. You are warm in the face, the sensation of this all is incredible. You feel like you have no limit to what you could fit into your belly right now, and it encourages you with a rumble, demanding for more.
More is more.
You are panting, you feel hot. Not just your body, but something inside. Something is building, the pressure is growing, something is going to burst. It's not your belly, it's
Iola.
You cry out as a sudden wave of pleasure washes over you. Your whole body is tingling and feels electrified. It's so amazing, your muscles tense and then release and you feel weak in the knees. You slump to the ground, your heavy belly dragging you down with it. You go to reach out for another box, only to realize that you have already finished your task. Every single box is gone.
What?
But you still feel that pressure inside. You have the urge to feed more. But you worry that eating any more would be dangerous for you. You look like you've been stretched thin, your belly huge and firm to the touch beneath all of your fat. You take some much-needed time to catch your breath and let yourself digest. Your stomach gurgles and groans as the hundreds of thousands of calories that you shoved into it are quickly being turned into more fat along your body. You are huffing and puffing as you push your body through the train station. You have your belly resting on a luggage trolley which helps you to move a bit faster, which is like comparing the speed of a sap dripping down a tree to how fast grass grows, but it is still a difference. You are sweating, this being the most exercise you've had since that night at the grocery store. You take a long drink from one of the large bottles of soda that you picked up from the station kiosk.
Important to stay hydrated.
You think as you chug the whole bottle of cola. Your train rolls into the station, and the doors slide open to let the passengers on board. They look to have extended how far open the doors can go, to accommodate for the ever-expanding waistlines of the average person. However, you aren't average, not by a long shot. Your belly slides partially into the train before you are stopped in your tracks. You are wedged fully in the doorway before you even pass all of your heavy gut into the train car. You blush deeply as people both behind and in front of you look at how helpless you are to do anything about the situation you're in.
Roman 2 need help.
You eventually manage to mutter out, "Please stand clear of the open door." Automated message plays as the door tries to close, only for sensors to stop it as it presses against your belly. People behind you begin to push while those in the cart pull you in. Their hands sink into your fat as they squish your belly in order to slowly maneuver you through the door. You are red in the face as all the strangers fondle your body in an attempt to help you pass your fat ass through the doorway. Through the efforts of everyone involved, eventually, you are able to shuffle your way into the car, making your way into the corner as best you can, where you easily take up a fourth of the available space. People have to press up against you so that everyone can get a spot on the train. And even though everyone is at the least fat at this point, you dwarf everyone by comparison. The entire ride to SBC, you have a hand over your mouth to mask your heavy breathing. The whole situation has you incredibly aroused, and you are having a hard time containing yourself. Your heart beats loudly in your chest as you do your best to try and compose yourself. Eventually, the train comes to your stop and everyone looks at you as you push your way to the door. You turn a head over the shoulder and with a nervous grin you say,
Around 2.
Having not come into the office for weeks, you hadn't gotten to see how much the dessert had been affecting your coworkers. You took this opportunity to catch up with everyone and see how they have been. This honestly might be one of your last chances. With how things went on the train, you doubt your ability to even come to work again after today. It's to be expected. The first person that you come across is Stephanie, who you are convinced actually is just a permanent resident of the building. She's lying on her back as a large conveyor belt carts mounds of donuts overhead. They slowly move towards a small drop that has the donuts tumble in a steady stream into the waiting mouth of the receptionist. Her belly is enormous and bloated. It rises high above her and is pressed up against the underside of the conveyor belt, firmly wedging her into place, and with each passing second, the chances of her being able to get unstuck grow smaller as she gulps down the endless supply of pastries.
Chew H gulpy smack I munch Aubrey, chew.
Tries to hold a conversation between donuts, but it is a futile effort. You honestly feel a bit jealous of her situation, but at the same time, you do like being able to at least talk when you feel like it. You watch for a few minutes as Stephanie gulps down 100 donuts, and are honestly impressed with her ability to not miss a single one, despite the pace at which she has to eat.
Well, keep up the good work, Steph. I'll give you the TLDR about the meeting when I come back down.
Having not come into the office for weeks, you hadn't gotten to see how much the dessert had been affecting your coworkers. You took this opportunity to catch up with everyone and see how they have been. This honestly might be one of your last chances. With how things went on the train, you doubt your ability to even come to work again after today. The meeting is on the 5th floor, and there is no chance in hell that you are taking the stairs, which leaves you no choice but to take the elevator. As the doors slide open, you audibly
Gulp.
Not wanting to try and turn around inside of the elevator, you back yourself into the confined space. You feel your butt press up against the wall, while your belly is still slightly outside. You press yourself back as much as you can, feeling your butt climb up the wall as it gets compressed, until you are just barely able to fit yourself in. The door slowly closes and seals you in like a can of tuna. You try to let yourself scooch forward, only to find you are packed in about as tightly as you could be. The elevator lets out an ominous creak, and you look up at the weight capacity.
1100 kg. It's been a minute since I weighed myself, but I think I should be okay.
You hold your breath the entire way up as the elevator noticeably struggles to carry you up to the 5th floor. It feels like the longest elevator ride of your life, but eventually the door slides open, rubbing against your gut as it spills out into the hallway. You push yourself out into the office while wiping the sweat from your brow.
Okay, meeting time.
The first person you see is Blossom, who is sitting in the middle of the room breathing heavily. She is seated along 3 chairs that are supporting the weight of her butt. She is fanning herself with a hand and looks to be sweating quite a bit.
Are you okay?
You ask. Blossom's eyes grow wide when she sees you, clearly taken back by your size. But she keeps whatever she is thinking to herself.
Well, barely. The elevators Huff have been pretty busy all day, Huff, so I took the stairs. I wouldn't recommend it.
Trust me, the elevator isn't that much better.
You say bashfully.
How's that? No offense, but I can't really see you taking the alternative.
Well, it's just that it is a bit on the tight side.
Blossom looks at you in disbelief.
Holy girl, are you really that big? That's crazy.
You aren't exactly the pinnacle of fitness yourself, you know.
You say bluntly.
I may be carrying around a dump truck, but you're the whole ass landfill, Aubrey. A whole other level compared to the rest of us. Even Jade and Carly can't compare, which is crazy.
You can't help but blush, and you are grinning a dumb grin.
Are really?
You next make your way over to Celeste, who is leaning over a desk to help support herself. She looks to be the lightest of your coworkers, but the weight has disproportionately rested in her middle, which looks to cause her problems with maintaining her balance. She gives you a weary smile.
Phew, I guess I'm not as used to being on my feet as I used to. The solitary life really has a way of catching up with you quickly. It has been nice to be able to spend more time with the husband and daughter, though. I really could get used to it.
She stands to her full height and places her hands on the small of her back as she stretches, her turtleneck sweater riding up even higher over the multiple layers of her belly.
Groans. Oh, sorry dear, I didn't mean to just start spouting off about myself like that. It was just nice to see you. How has life been treating you?
Well, in all honesty, I haven't really been doing anything outside of eating.
Celeste gives a gentle smile as you watch her eyes make a quick glance down at your gut that is resting on the ground.
And is that a bad thing?
Well, not to me it isn't. I've never been happier actually.
Then it sounds like you've also been making the most of your time at home. I'm happy for you. Though some food for thought, maybe having someone you could call in case you find yourself stuck somewhere might not be a bad idea.
She leans in close and whispers,
considering your size and all.
You assure her that things seem to have a way of working themselves out when it has come to that, but that you will keep her in mind if anything happens to come up. With that, you turn your attention to Jade.
Haha, I knew it. I kept telling myself that you were going to leave me in the dust. You had that look in your eyes as soon as shit hit the fan. But even I couldn't imagine just how freaking fat you'd get.
Jade says all of this with a huge grin on her face as she sits on the ground, her tankard of a gut spread between her spread legs. She has a whole cake propped between her breasts that she is taking bites from periodically. It feels like Jade is a kindred spirit that actually understands what you want from all of this, and the way she is praising your size makes you want to indulge a bit in boasting.
Well, I could give you a pointer or two if you want. I've got some tricks I've been using, as well as I can point you to this one place in town that might be able to help you bump up your game. Because otherwise, there's no way you'll be able to keep up with all this.
You say, lifting, and then dropping you gut with a heavy thud.
Damn, you got that right, dude. So what's the secret?
You go into detail about your daily routine and how you have been filling yourself with chocolate sauce as a way to really boost your daily calorie intake. You also tell her about the drug that you've been using, as well as your local grocer. By the end of it all, Jade just is staring at you in stunned awe.
Wow, you're actually a pro at this. Do you got any idea for how much further you're going to go?
Without hesitation, you say,
Until I literally can't go any bigger. I want to be fucking continental.
Hell yeah. I'll be rooting you on. I was clearly out of my depths even trying to compete. The second I saw you walk in this room, I knew I was cooked. Hell, you somehow even managed to outdo Kali, and that girl is cursed or something to pack on the pounds even when she doesn't want to.
Ade says, pointing a finger across the room.
Jay, just come on, please.
Kali is struggling in the corner, desperately trying to button up her top, which is wrapped around her breasts like a second skin. You can tell that it is a futile struggle on her end, and as she pulls at her shirt, it ends up tearing along her back.
Mother, sigh, what's even the point?
A sign of defeat, she lets her arms just fall to her side. The gap window in her blouse is so wide that you think you can make out her areolas. You find it funny how someone who was so determined to lose weight ended up being the best one at gaining it. You bet that if she was eating like you have been, that she would definitely be even larger than you. You think best of approaching her, because your attitude towards the whole situation probably isn't what she would want to hear. Instead, you and Jade decide to admire her multi-tiered ass and hanging gut from a distance. After a short amount of time passes and the rest of the SBC staff have slowly funneled into the room, the heavy footsteps of the CAO echo down the hallway as she finally arrives to hold the meeting. Despite all of her protest at the beginning of all of this, Jamie seems to have fallen into gluttony just as much as the rest of you. Her blazer and top are only enough to contain the boulders that are her breasts, while her heavy hanging belly droops towards the floor. She is snacking on a muffin, with a satisfied smile on her face.
It is nice to see that everyone has managed to make it to today's meeting. Well, all excluding our receptionist, but if you have seen her, then you can probably understand as to why that is. I suppose many of you have been wondering why you have been called her today. I imagine it was a struggle for more than a few of us, myself included.
She gives a pointed glance over at you.
Well, that is precisely what this is about. SBC has tried to combat the growing mobility problem that is facing the world by having you all work remotely. But what happens when all of us have become so sloven that we are not even able to operate within the comfort of our own home?
She paused for dramatic effect. You actually hadn't considered what comes next after immobility for you. There was a time when you just figured others would take care of your needs, but soon those others will be in the same boat as you.
This is the exact question that I posed to the board of directors, and they suggested that we all simply try to eat less. I laughed in their faces.
She says, biting into another muffin, as if to represent her tearing into the very idea of moderation.
No, we need something concrete, and that is what this meeting is about. Aubrey, please come here for a moment.
You sigh as you have to make the effort to drag your body to the front of the room. All eyes on you as you clearly struggle with just getting around due to how unwieldy your weight has made moving. Eventually, you are standing next to Jamie, who looks downright svelte next to you.
Please, if you could lift your stomach for me.
She says, crouching down next to you. You are legitimately impressed with how well she can carry herself. You do as she says, and using all of your strength get your belly fully off of the ground.
How long huff do I need to do this?
You ask Jamie, your arms quaking as you struggle to hold all of the weight.
Oh, we are already done. Feel free to relax.
You let go of your stomach, but instead of the sound of your body impacting the ground, there is nothing. You give a confused look to your boss.
Try taking a step.
You do so and find that you no longer feel your belly on the ground. Instead, it glides smoothly along with your gait. It is the lightest your movement has felt in the past month.
What did you do?
As you can see, even someone of Aubrey's considerable size can move about without much issue. What you are using is a support device that is non-intrusive and designed to help aid in mobility. It uses tactile feedback from your movements to help to keep you up and moving. I am not fully aware of the exact sciences behind it, but as far as I know, it helps to lift and evenly distribute your weight over a very strong moving platform that rolls along the ground underneath you.
It sounds like made-up BS to you, but it works, and that is all that matters.
So does that mean we have to come back to the office then, since we have these?
You ask, and a few other people in the room nod, wanting to know as well.
If you so choose, there have not been any mandates from up above requiring any of you to do so, but I will say, I may have also convinced the board that we required a few renovations to the staff break room. I don't think that there would be enough room for the chocolate fountain as it was.
Your neck snaps over to Jamie at her words.
Come again.
You enter the staff break room. You see that it has been greatly expanded, taking up the majority of the floor that it is located on. The doors leading into it are wide enough for you to be able to enter without even needing to think about after explaining to all the staff about your mobility aid devices. She proceeded to let you all know that the staff room had been transformed into a deluxe dessert buffet. Row after row of buffet tables filled with tiers dessert displays, showing off every dessert you could possibly imagine. Each table has a different style of dessert made in a variety of ways from cultures from around the world. The cake table alone looks like it could topple under the sheer weight of it all. Towers of frosted sponge cakes layered with jams and creams, glossy mirror glazed entremets catching the light like gemstones, and great hulking cheesecakes in every imaginable flavor, from plain New York style to one swirled with chocolate, caramel, or fruit compote. Each cake is sliced with surgical precision, but even then the slices are large enough to feed a person on their own next to it. The pastry table stretches on, lined with delicate eclairs dripping custard, flaky croissants glazed with honey, danishes spiraled with fruit and cream, baklava stacked like golden bricks, cream puffs piled so high they threaten to avalanche onto the floor. The sheer fragrance of butter, sugar, and roasted nuts makes your mouth water before you even get close. A chocolate fountain sits at the heart of the room, with skewers of strawberries, marshmallows, and brownies arranged in concentric circles around it like offerings to some decadent god. The dark, milk, and white chocolate all cascade endlessly, each fountain gurgling and steaming faintly with warmth no matter where you turn. There's another indulgence vying for attention: glass jars stuffed with cookies, brownies dense enough to bend a plate, trays of fudge cut into thick cubes, bowls of ice cream surrounded by every imaginable topping, and pies ranging from the usual affair of apple and pumpkin to the more extravagant, such as buttered pecans and bourbon. The sheer quality of it all would be intimidating to most. You take it as a chance to put the engineering of this contraption you are riding around on to the test. With a crack of your knuckles, you make your way over to one of the tables and place you gigantic booty of the floor and begin what ends up being the rest of your workday. But you've not much time this evening since you have some plans that you do not want to miss out on. But you might have time for a thing or two. To Eve's place, Evelyn had let you know via email that she was going to be hosting a pie eating competition at the gym, which has been completely transformed since you last visited. All the exercise equipment has been removed and replaced with things such as feeding tubes, vending machines, and a revolving dessert bar. Apparently, once people gave up on the notion of staying thin, Evelyn switched over the goal of Eve's place. It still encourages training and bettering yourself, but now is tailored towards a form of competition better suited for a world filled with fatties eating contests. Like with everything she does, Evelyn has been giving 100 of herself to everything she does, and as such, now sports a body properly suited for someone training others on how to eat. Though when she sees you, she clearly looks taken back by your size.
Oh wow, I take it you're here for the pie eating contest, Aubrey.
One side of the building is floor-to-ceiling pies set up in a handful of stations for each competitor. You begin to salivate at the sight of them. Thanks to the aid of the mobility device that you had gotten from work, you are able to rush over to them with much more speed that should be expected of someone of your size.
Whoa, slow down there, give me time to get you prepared first. I appreciate the motivation, but if you are that eager to start, at least give me a chance to start a timer so that we can compare you to the others when they join you.
Fine, but I am not waiting for very long. I am starving and these pies look incredible.
You take a seat in the middle of countless pies. A table is set up in front of you for posterity's sake, but that's only if you choose to use it. Barely able to hold back, you stare deadlocked onto the first apple pie in front of you as Evelyn pulls out a stopwatch and gives you the countdown to start.
3.2.1, go.
There's something primal about how you let loose on the endless pies. You grab them by the tin and just let them slide into your mouth, licking the tins clean before throwing them aside to clatter on the ground. You quickly lose count of how many you have eaten. It doesn't matter. The competition is not what you are here for. You are here to eat, to grow, to become fatter than anyone else. The sheer quantity that you are consuming is having a dramatic effect on your body. As you swallow pie after pie, they are converted into more and more fat that is piling onto your body. You are leaning forward in order to reach the pies, your own growing body raising you higher off the ground with each passing second. Your gut has begun to push into the stack of pastries and is causing them to topple to the ground, creating a pile in front of you that you have to reach down to. Your growing breasts and fat-laden arms making the task progressively more difficult with each devoured dessert.
More.
You realize that you are chanting in unison with another person as you desperately try to shovel more food into your expanding belly. Looking to your left, you find yourself side by side with the person who has been mirroring your journey of growth. The girl from the running path is hunched over her food, very similar to how you are. She seems just as desperate for something to eat, and you can see why. She is nearly as big as you are, though the weight has settled far more into her colossal ass. Her eyes look glazed over, as if she isn't even fully aware of what she is doing, just motivated purely by her own gluttony. She seems to have accepted that this is just who she is, and that she is destined to be a giant fat ass like everyone else. You would be happy to see it if the fact that she was this close to you in size didn't annoy you.
She didn't even want this. How can she be almost bigger than I am?
Motivated by your own insatiable need to be the biggest, you double your efforts taking the pies in 2 at a time. Your body groans as it widens. Onlookers can see you filling up more of the space as you clear a full tower of pies, followed by another and another.
And that is time. Ladies, you can stop eating now. Aubrey, that is going to be quite the hard number to beat. 213 pies in an hour, that's more than 3 pies a minute.
You don't stop. There are still so many more pies to be had, and they will be yours. You pull yourself forward using your arms, your body gliding along the ground thanks to the SBC tech, and purposefully topple another tower of pies to make it easier to eat.
Aubrey, you can stop, you heard me right.
Mouth crammed full of pie, filling you shoot her a look that lets her know that if she were to interfere with your eating that you wouldn't take it lightly.
Okay then, well you're disqualified just so you know.
Turn off your brain and just let yourself fall into the feeling of your body expanding as you continue to eat. You hear the sound of your gym clothes ripping and tearing as your ass balloons in size. Your sports bra is stretched past its limit, and it threatens to split down the middle as your breasts go up cup size after cup size. You feel so warm, and your body is so soft it is like you are resting on the world's most decadent mattress. Your legs are spread wide apart by your ever-growing belly, though your thighs still never part contact, as they are too wide for that to even be possible. Eventually though, something horrible happens.
NGH, come on, Huff, come on.
Belly has gotten so big that you are no longer able to reach the pies. You are too far lifted off the ground that your ability to continue to gorge yourself is taken from you. You can't drag yourself further using your hands, and your feet kick uselessly against the back of your bloated belly. Even with the mobility device, you have managed to leave yourself completely immobile.
I think you should take that as you sign to stop for now, Aubrey. You're like twice the woman you were when you came through the doors. I think it's fine.
You know that she is probably right, but you're in a state of mind that refuses to stop. You are on a roll and you want to keep going. But if you want to accomplish that, you are going to have to rely on others to help you.
Fine, I guess I'm done.
You say, still eyeing the rest of the pies.
Do you think you could tip me back onto my feet? I think I am stuck otherwise.
Evelyn places a hand on your shoulder and pushes, rolling you back along your stomach, which jiggles like jello as you eventually get your footing. You can barely see over the wall of flesh that your stomach has become, but thankfully, you are still able to move with that aid of the little platform pulling double time with your belly. You could keep going with the pies if you wanted to, but you have got a better idea at this point. With Evelyn's help, she guides you out of the gym, needing the combined efforts of most of the people in the building to push you out through the triple-wide doors. You are thankful that your next destination is the mall, because you don't think you could actually fit into any other buildings with your new size. Drag yourself to the mall. You are lying in your bed looking up at your popcorn ceiling. Your hand rests on your flat tummy, and you are wearing your slightly too big tank top that you sometimes wear to bed when you aren't feeling fancy. You shoot straight up, feeling every inch of your body. Your breasts are plump and perky, your hips are curvaceous, and your tummy is flat and slightly soft. It is morning and time to get ready for work. You walk over to the kitchen and with a slight bit of hope, you open the door to your fridge.
Sigh.
Time to get ready. As always, check out the Patreon for early episodes and exclusive ones. If you like Big Aspirations, there's an exclusive video on there about the Milkmaid Cafe, so check it out. Anyway, I would like to thank these awesome people who decided to support me. First of all, Zephiel, thank you for being the first ever N2 supporter, followed by everyone else who decided to support yesterday: Corn Chip, Anarchy, D-Boy, Wiggins, and Oz. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the extra content because more is to come.